Welcome back, everybody. Driver 53 here with another short video on precision farming for Farming Simulator 19. And y'all, today we are going to be checking out corn. That's right. We're going to be looking at what happens if we stagger the nitrogen levels across all the different soil types for corn. Now, this is very, very similar to what we just did for wheat. So I'm not going to go into as much detail. If you really want the background history on the test on how I set it up, go check out that video over there. I'm going to link it up here above right now. I will briefly cover, just to show you what we did here again. These are the soil types. Here are my plots within those soil types. As you can see, we're lined up once again. Now, these are the pH levels. As you can see, everything is the way that it should be all the way across. There are a little bit slight discolorations, but as you can see here in the 6, if I turn that on and off, it all goes together. Now, I do have that one blue spot down there. I've gone around that as best I could. We might get a little bit of overlap into it. Next is going to be nitrogen levels. So as you can see, the nitrogen, we go all the way from 20 all the way in the bottom left to 200 up at the top right. And we also have a strip on the outside of that that is 0 nitrogen, and then all the way throughout, everything else is 0. So that's what the map looks like. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and, well, also, the one thing that I want to cover really quickly on corn. So what we need is 200 points is recommended in loam. Loam is going to be the second strip that you're going to see going across here. Next is sandy loam at 160. So this strip right here, going across here, this one is going to be our target. Silty clay is actually 180, so this one up here is going to be our target. And then on loamy sand, it's 120, so we're going to be actually down here is where this one is going to show recommended. So it's going to be interesting. On corn, do any of these higher ones, especially on loamy sand and sandy loam, being at 120 and 160 respectively, are those going to give us negative yields as compared to, what we've seen on wheat? So very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and jump over here. I'm going to bump the time up, and I will be back after we harvest, and I'll show you guys the map. All right, everybody, we got everything harvested here. All 4 strips completely done. And let's go ahead and take a look at the map. So these are the soil types once again, and this is where the corn was at once again. So we know that the top one is going to be our silty clay, and then loam, sandy loam, and then loamy sand. So as we go across, these are the pH levels. You can see that everything dropped as it should have. Perfectly good there. Now nitrogen, we can see a lot got taken out too. So it's as should be also. Everything worked good there. So now it's going to be time to reveal our yields. Here we go. All right, so this looks very, very similar to what wheat was showing. And the reason is because the nitrogen levels are very, very similar. So let's go ahead and start with 125% on loam. We know that on loam, that's the max yield percentage that you're going to see. So 125 is for 200 and 180. So it looks like you are going to be able to under fertilize by 20 points and still get that same yield. Now at 115, we see that we have 2 more that fell off. So 160 and 140. That's really nice. At 110, we have the 120 nitrogen. At 105, we have the 100 and the 80 that fell off. At 100, we have the 60 points that fell off. And at 95, we have the other strips. So what we're seeing there is the 40 and the 20. And we can also see that the 0 is there also. So anything, if you put 0 nitrogen in the ground, you're going to get 95% all the way up through the typical up to 200 at 125. It's interesting again that you can be a little bit under on your fertilizer and still get that 125% yield. So pretty consistent there with what we saw. Now let's go to sandy loam, and we know on sandy loam it's going to be 100% is the most that you're going to be able to get on a yield, and that's going to be this strip right here that we're going to take a look at now. So it looks like at 100 we're going to have the top 3, and the reason for that I feel like is because it's 160 on sandy loam. So your 200, your 180, and your 160 are all going to give you top yield for that soil type. Next, we're going to have 95% here, and that's going to be your 140 and your 120. Wow, that's pretty cool. So for a 5-point drop, you can be at 120 instead of 160, which means that you can put down 3/4 the amount of fertilizer that you normally would, but only lose 5% on your yield. Might be worth something there. Now, next is going to be 90%, and that's going to be your 100 and your 80. So that's interesting. And then at 85, you're going to have your 60 and your 40. At 80% is going to be your 20 and your 0. That's really, really cool. So next, we're going to go to Silty Clay, and that's going to be up here, this straighter section up at the top. And on Silty Clay, we know that we're going to get 100 or a 90% maximum yield out of this soil type. We also know that we need 180 points of nitrogen, which is going to be right here. So let's take a look at 90% really quickly, and that's going to be, yep, 180 and 200. So the interesting thing to me is that you have to put more nitrogen in the ground and you're getting less yield. You know, we saw on sandy loam, you don't need as much nitrogen in the ground, and that carries you a lot farther. You're going to get a better yield percentage. You're going to get 10 points more, 10% more on the yield. So that's pretty cool. And you get to put less fertilizer down. That's really cool. So we'll knock off the 90 there. Next is going to be 85, and that's going to be your 160 and your 140. 80% is going to be your 120 and your 100. At 75% is going to be your 80 and your 60. And at 70%, that's everything else. Your 40, your 20, and your 0. So let's turn everything back on to 80, because now we're on loamy sand, and we know that loamy sand is this last strip down here that had to bend around a little bit. So at 80%, well, and also on this one, we know that you're only going to need to put in 120 points of nitrogen. So at 80, wow, we have 200, 180, 160, 140, 120, and 100. Wow, so you only need to put 100 instead of 120 in here, and you're going to get 80% on your yield. That's pretty cool. So at 75, that takes care of your 80 and your 60. Yep, 80 and 60. At 70% here, that's going to be your 40 and your 20. And then 65 takes care of everything else, your 0. So really, really interesting there. I'm going to go ahead and turn all of these back on so you'll have one more look at everything. And once again, the strip on this side is 20 points of nitrogen, 20 kilograms per hectare, and this up here is 200, and it's 20 point steps all the way through. I hope you guys learned something today. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up on the video. And if you want to stay up to date on all my latest precision farming videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And while you're over there, hit the notification bell too. I've been putting out multiple videos a day here recently. I think that's going to keep up while I've got some more content on precision farming going on. But other than that, I've also got some Let's Play series that I'm going to be doing here really soon once the maps get some updates. I'm going to be showing off a few different mods, and we might even throw something a little bit different in there too. So 2021 is going to be a fun year for me and for you guys hopefully too. If you have any comments, questions about this video, go and throw them in the comments below. And if you have any other questions about precision farming, definitely let me know also. I've added my email to my about page. I'm going to add it to the description down here in the video too. So if you want to send a private message that way, go right ahead. It may take me a little bit to get to them, but I will return messages. So I just want to say have a great day, everybody. Until next time, this is Driver 53 signing off.